Hello, my sexy friend. So I'm going to start this off by saying two things. First and foremost, yes! I don't have a shirt on again. I don't need any comments about that. It's hot. You can hear the swamp cooler on. And I feel sexy. So there's nothing wrong with that. So I'm going to post a video of me with my shirt off. And the second thing is sorry for the noise in the background. That is my swamp cooler. That is our swamp cooler. Keeps the house cool and yeah. So, I want to tell you my story, my law of attraction success story in regards to healing my hip. Now, for those of you that have not watched any of my videos before, you know that I had leukemia twice, and as I was finishing up the 5th year of my treatment after the second bout with leukemia, my hip collapsed. So I'm gonna post a a picture right now in this video showing you what my hip looked like 3 years ago. Ready and go. And we're back. So you got to see what my hip looked like. The red circle is the collapsed hip, the femoral head. The green circle is my healthy left femoral head. Now, as you can see from the video, if you want to rewind this and go back from it, or the picture, excuse me, you will see that my hip is fucked, or it was fucked. Anyways, so that happened when I was 19 years old. I was running valet, I was finishing up my treatment, I had been given the okay to go back to school, so I had been on and off of corticosteroids, prednisone, for 5 years by that time. 5.5 years. That's a long time to be on steroids, especially high doses that I was on. As a result of me being on that high dose steroids, the femoral head got a blood clot in there somehow, or a clot in the capillary that sends blood supply to that bone. Once the bone does not get any more blood supply, it dies. So I had avascular necrosis in my right femoral head. Very common in people that have long-term steroid use, childhood leukemia or childhood cancer patients that have to go through steroid use, alcoholics. I think that's mostly it. So long-term steroid use and alcoholics. There's a few more other ones. You can go on WebMD and they can tell you. Anyway, so the hip collapsed. Now, at that time, I was planning my comeback to walk on to UNR and the football team. Obviously, that didn't happen because here I am living a different lifestyle. But my hip, it was funny because I was running valet, I was getting back into it, everything was getting better, my lungs were getting better, my strength was getting better, my cardiovascular endurance was getting better, everything was getting better. And then one day, I grabbed some keys, went to go run out, they slipped out of my hand, I stepped on the key and my foot slid like an ice skate and I landed, boom, right on my right sit bone. And I was like, ow, that kind of hurt. After that happened, my hip just got continually worse until 3 months later, I couldn't even move my femur, my right leg, in my hip socket. So I literally could not move my hip without being in excruciating pain. Literally like somebody was stabbing me in my hip, and the pain radiated down all the way into my knee, down into the outside of my ulna, my shin, we'll call it. Is that an ulna? That's not my ulna. My ulna is here. Oh my god, my fibula. Man, it's been a long day. Anyways, so I was in excruciating pain. Finally went to the doctors. They said, oh, you've got a collapse in your right femoral head. You're gonna need a hip replacement. Being the obstinate individual that I was, and listening to the guidance of my higher self and my heart, which was the communication through my higher self, through source, through spirit to me, I decided to go against it. That led to many, 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 many years of limping and limping and limping, of which I still do today. However, I'm going to share my story of the law of attraction with you. So this is very, very interesting that I had learned about the law of attraction through The Secret, the original Secret with Esther Hicks in it, when I was in December of 2006. Yes, December of 2006. This hip issue started March 2007, which was very fascinating. So I immediately, because I was so drawn to the law of attraction and knew it 100% in the essence of my being, I knew that I could heal my hip. So I started visualizing every day, visualizing. It was always visualizing my perfect mate, my perfect partner, my true love, and visualizing my hip being healed. It took me a while, I'll be honest with you. It took me about 2 or 3 years to really understand the idea of putting myself in the place of already having it. I still work on that today. 12 years later of a habitual daily practice, I still work on and practicing this. Like, I'm not a professional. I'm still practicing putting myself in the place of already being healed, being whatever it is I want now. I don't have to visualize my true love anymore because I already got her. But I still work on my hip. However, I visualized. Now, it consistently got better, right? Less pain, a little bit more mobility, a little less pain, a little less pain. This has gone on for the last 12 years. I felt it in the essence of my being. I felt my hip being healed. I felt my hip feeling better. I felt myself running. Now, that was really important to me to start running again because my whole life, all I wanted to do was jump around and sprint playing basketball and sprint and jump around playing football. That's all I wanted to do. You can ask my parents. All I wanted to do was do that all the time. Visualize. And it was really important for me to start running again. And just to have no pain running. I just didn't want to have pain sprinting anymore. I just wanted to run without irritation in my hip joint and feeling this like kind of, square peg in a round hole feeling and uncomfortable. So that leads me up until February. Now February comes along and I did a video about this, how to heal your body. What was it? I don't know. It was in February. You can go back to that video. Heal your body, acknowledge your pain, something along those lines. Now, what I did that day is Teal Swan mentioned a process that she used where she says to channel your pain. Now, I also came across this exact same process from a psychologist who wrote The Divided Mind, or called Heal Your Back, How to Heal Your Back. And he's a psychologist that uses this. Now, all you do is you express everything you can possibly think of. This guy's practice. Teal Swan's practice is to actually feel the emotion, feel the pain, put yourself in that place and try to express exactly what it is you're feeling, channeling the emotion, channeling the feelings, channeling the thoughts, the impulses. So I did this and I recorded it, and it was very intriguing because when I did this, I started saying things like, I just can't, I feel like I'm carrying the weight of the world on my shoulders. I just want to collapse. I feel stuck. I can't move anymore. And that's not how I feel anymore. However, when I was 19 years old and I was just getting over all of the treatments from 5 years of chemotherapy, radiation, pills, hospitals, suffering, that's how I felt. So I did this process, and instantly my hips started getting less painful. Like, I would have pain here and there. But the day after I did this, my pain started really diminishing. And so I would keep listening to this audio recording of myself. I did it every 2 weeks pretty much. And the more I did it, the less I noticed the pain in my hip. I was like, okay, interesting. Because I had visualized and I had tried to use the law of attraction for so long, but I wasn't really acknowledging what my body was trying to communicate to me until this process. So I did that. Then I went to Hawaii for my honeymoon in June with my amazingly sexy, beautiful wife, Shauna Ray Tavcar. And now you know my wife's name. My name is Zachary Patrick Tavcar, by the way, if you didn't know that. Anyways, so I went to Hawaii and read a book from Neil Goddard, who's like one of the original teachers of the law of attraction in the 50s. I actually read 3 of his books in Hawaii, and he kind of cultivated science of mind. I think that's what it's called, science of mind. Anyways, and then I also read Dolores Cannon, who's the founder of quantum healing hypnosis therapy. I read her book, Between Life and Death, Conversation with a Spirit. And in that book, and I have Dolores Cannon's books because I think she's really fascinating, and but I read that book, and that book had things in there in regards to healing the body, and how the higher self was coming through and talking to these people and expressing that these people's bodies were just communications channels for the individual consciousness to accept and let go, almost, I want to say, not always in certain circumstances, but for instance, like when your knees and your hips and your ankles hurt, it's because you're not moving in the right direction. You're stuck in your same patterns, or other things like immune system disorders, where you constantly feel attacked, and so your immune system's always heightened, and you're kind of trying to prevent that from happening. So all these different things, which coincided with what I had experienced in February with channeling my hip. So the same exact idea. My hip, the pain in my hip was communicating to me what I needed to be working on and letting go of. Acknowledging the emotions and the thoughts associated with my 19-year-old self, and helping myself kind of almost communicating to my body and reminding it that we're okay, that I appreciate it, that it's beautiful, etc. So then then last month I got my quantum healing hypnosis therapy certification, and after we got back from Hawaii, I felt really inspired. This is all going to make sense. I felt really inspired to start running again because I had even less pain. And so at the gym that we go to, South Reno Athletic Club, they have a Woodway curve treadmill, so it's a self-propelling treadmill. Now, I started running on it, and I started noticing that I could trust my leg more. Because the last 12 years, I've had problems trusting my leg and putting pressure in my leg and really going for it. Now, I wanted to share this video because I videoed myself yesterday running on the treadmill. Now, it's nothing special. I used to run way faster than this. However, for me, this was important because I only ran on the treadmill at 14 miles an hour, 24, oh my gosh, I would be flying. 14 miles an hour, that's how fast I was running. However, I trusted my leg, and I want you guys to look at the difference between, or look at the picture again. The picture of my hip, and then look at me running, and think to yourself, that shouldn't be happening. My hip should not be moving like that. And you'll notice I still have a little bit of inflexibility in that hip. But I ran yesterday, and I've been running on a weekly basis on this thing for at least the last 6 weeks without pain. I'm gonna talk a little trash right now. I even beat Shauna. and she's a fast, tough-ass little shit. She trains twice a day. So I'm just gonna throw that out there. Anyways, watch the video. Here we go, ready, and go. And now we're back. So you can see, right, nothing special, but the whole purpose of this long ass video, again, whenever I do these law of attraction success stories, yes, I am wiping sweat off of my elbow because I'm sweating. It's only 78 degrees in this house, so it's still a little hot. Anyways, the purpose of posting this was to share with you that I did my best for 12 years at visualizing, not acknowledging what my body was trying to tell me. I tried my best, I did my best to visualize my body healed. And although it was healing, it wasn't fully going to heal until I acknowledged what it needed to tell me. Does that make sense? So for those of you who are watching this, who are wanting to heal something, my suggestion, I just read a book, Dolores Cannon's daughter. It's called Soul Speaks. And the whole premise is just what this video is explaining. Our higher self, our higher consciousness, our soul, the eternal aspect of us that is God, is communicating through us. Now, if we don't listen, if we don't accept the things we need to learn, the lessons we need to learn, the soul, the higher self, will try to get your attention by more extensive means. Hopefully, it doesn't come to the point where you're getting cancer, or diabetes, or heart disease, or avascular necrosis. I truly wish that I used to hold a lot of anger as a kid, a lot of resentment, a lot of orneriness, anger, and just that it fester in my body and put the weight of the world on my shoulders. Ridiculous coming from, saying that, being a 31-year-old, thinking about my 14-year-old self. Like, I thought I had to fix everyone's issues. I held everyone's anger in. I kept everyone's emotions in like they were my own. And it festered and it gave me fucking cancer. But I didn't learn the lessons that I needed to learn the first time. I can honestly say that. I didn't learn compassion, true compassion for others. I didn't learn that it's not all about me. I didn't learn so many lessons. And so when I got sick the second time, when I manifested sickness, nobody thrust sickness upon me. I manifested that because I was too rigid in my thinking and I was unwilling to learn. I was unwilling to be present. When I got sick the second time and saw all of these kids suffering and their parents suffering and the nurses suffering and the doctors suffering and my parents suffering and my brother suffering and my siblings and my relatives suffering and everyone I knew was just suffering, I realized it wasn't about me anymore. And then as I got older and I started asking those questions, root word of question is quest. As I started questing, asking what was going on, why is this happening, I opened myself up to receiving what I needed to learn. I opened myself up to understanding that there's more to it than just me. I opened myself up to meditation, to reading these books that might be out there, but make so much sense because now I'm over here living my best life. I got a smoking hot, sexy ass wife. I got a smoking hot body. Like, check me out, yo. Look at that. Look at that. Come on. Like, look at those. See, when I flex, I almost got an 8-pack. But, right, I have a healthy, gracious, strong, powerful, fun, exciting body. I've got a wife to die for. The perfect mate for me. I've got the best dog. I've got parents that are the most incredible people that I picked the perfect parents for me. I work every day inspiring people, helping people work on their health. And now I'm inspiring people by helping them relax to a state where they're getting their own answers in the hypnosis. I'm going to post a little video or a little, if you want to check out the quantum healing hypnosis therapy. It is fascinating. Fascinating. Since I've done it, like literally, I ran on that treadmill. 5 years ago, I would have been limping and struggling and pain shooting down my leg and dropping to the floor. And here I am running on that motherfucker at 14 miles an hour. I know it doesn't sound impressive, but to me, from where I've been, from limping to not even putting pressure, to being on crutches for 6 months because I couldn't put pressure on my leg, to being where I am at now, that shows me the power of the law of attraction, the power of our own minds, the power of who we are, and the power of listening. I only do these videos because I want you to take in that information, and I know these are long, and I appreciate you staying here 21 minutes with me and listening to this if you made it this long. But listening to our bodies are not here to hurt us. We're spiritual beings living in a human existence. We're spiritual beings having a human experience. Our body is just here to tell us things. You know, we've got to use it. I'm an exercise physiologist. That's what I am. That's what I studied kinesiology. I studied exercise physiology, and here I am. But it only takes us so far. There's more to our bodies than just movement. Movement is beautiful. We have to move. We have to flow. You know, we have to move our joints in a beautiful range of motion, getting back to nature. But our body is just the expression of our soul, of our spirit, of our higher self. As we listen, as we're, like the other day, my car happened, something happened to it. And instead of getting angry, be like, oh, why the fuck is this happening? I immediately asked, what is the universe showing me? Higher self, what are you telling me? Stop taking everything as being thrust upon you. You are the eternal creator in a physical body. You are all that is in this little tiny vessel. That reminds me of Lavender. Little tiny body. In this little tiny vessel, experiencing this reality for a brief glimpse of time. What are you being told? I hope this video uploads all the way. It's so long. I'm being so preachy right now. But anyways, that's my law of attraction success story when it comes to healing my body. I have so many more. I'll probably share more, but the body is our vessel of communication from our soul to our conscious mind. It's reminding you of the lessons that you still have to learn, of the things that you're not doing. And it's so simple. My hip, I felt stuck. At 19 years old, I felt stuck. I felt collapsed. I felt like there was too much pressure on my shoulders. And what happened? My hip collapsed and then got stuck. Right? It's very simple. And now I can run. My hip is opening up. There's no more pain. I love being pain-free. So if you're experiencing pain, ask your body what is happening. I don't know. I probably wanted to say more, but this video's gone long enough. I need to do a podcast. If you think I should do a podcast, give me a thumbs up on a podcast. And then maybe I'll start doing one. And I'll have all types of, ooh, I just got confirmation, that's what I should do. Ears ringing. Okay, we'll make a podcast. I don't need, but I would appreciate your advice or your comments. Anyways, I love you guys. Thanks for going around with my rambling. My end story is listen to your bodies. You're so much more than just your body. I know it sounds weird. I know it sounds crazy. But it's so not. It's so beautiful. You are so much more than you think you are. So much more. And I really, really, really hope you realize that. Ask your body what it's trying to tell you. And in the process, work with the law of attraction. Visualize yourself in the moment. I've been visualizing myself running on a treadmill and kicking my wife's ass in a sprint, and now I do it. Now I do it. But I had to accept what but the communication channels were telling me. It's a balance. It's a balance. There's a little bit more to it than just positive thinking like we always think. Positive thinking is beautiful, it's important. But put yourself in the place of having it. Know it's yours. Ask if your body's communicating anything to you when it comes to healing your body. You'll get the impulses, you'll get the information, you'll hear the thoughts. Follow those, release the emotions associated with it, or acknowledge them, accept them, and work on releasing them. And it'll all be good. I promise you, you'll be healed. I promise you. I know I'm not a doctor, but I can promise you from the depths of my heart, you can heal your body. You just have to listen to it. I love you guys. Thanks for watching. Talk to you next time. Bye.